I'm Vanessa Zoltan.
I'm Daniel Schrader.
And this is Let's Ask Taylor Swift.
Hello, Vanessa.
Daniel?
How are you feeling today?
Look, if you don't want to get a text at 10 p.m. the night before we record saying, tell me why, has made me cry for the last hour, you're co-hosting the wrong podcast with the wrong person. I don't know what to tell you. You made your choices.
That's absolutely right. I knew what I was signing up for, and I'm excited to get into this with you because I feel like we have some things to talk about.
Yes. I had not heard this song before. I had never consciously heard this song before. And I found it really difficult to listen to. It's a really upbeat song. And I would say it's either a song about a young woman in an abusive relationship, or it is a song about a young woman in an unhappy relationship who's using abuse as a metaphor. And either way, that really, really bummed me out.
I think that reading is totally fair. It is a rather upbeat song for the subject matter, even though we know Taylor loves to kind of juxtapose those two things.
Yes.
And I totally agree with how you're reading the song, but I also think there are other ways to see it that are less painful. So we can get into that.
Yeah, great. Before we jump in, I just want to say that you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Let's Ask Taylor Swift if you want to, pay for the time that I spend crying about Taylor Swift.
Or hear us talk about the last 5 years.
Or hear us talk about the last 5 years. The fantastic musical. There are all sorts of perks on there, but I think most importantly, you would be supporting a small feminist production company and some really fun people who like to make things. So consider joining us there for all sorts of perks, including ad-free episodes. So the question that we are asking the song Tell Me Why is, why do we care about why? Why, when we know that someone is treating us badly, do we still want to know why? So let's jump in. What are the liner notes? What do we need to know about the song?
So there's not a ton about this song, I will say. It's the 8th song off of Fearless, and it is the only Fearless track to not have its own Wikipedia page, which I only say because I'm not pulling these liner notes directly from Wikipedia, but they are a very useful source for finding original sources.
Yeah.
And I just have a question mark over why this one doesn't get a Wikipedia page all its own.
Yep.
In the Big Machine cut by cut post that we've been referencing in this season, Taylor says, quote, "I'd been talking to a guy I've never officially dated. He would say things that would make me go, did you just say that? It bothered me so much because he would say one thing and do another, do one thing and say another. Because he didn't know what he wanted, he would just play all these mind games." And she goes on to say in the cut by cut, and also echoes this in an interview with the Associated Press that she did at the time, that basically this is a rant song, that she walked into the songwriting session with her co-writer Liz Rose on this track and just started venting about a guy that had made her feel bad. And Liz just started writing everything down that Taylor was saying, and it became this song. So it comes from a place of anger. Mm-hmm. And I think it's time for us to get into it. So because you have such strong feelings, Vanessa, what's the vibe of this song? What's the main premise here?
So the character singing this song is saying, I'm sick of the way you treat me. And she sort of builds herself up again and again and saying, you treat me badly. And then the end of every chorus is not, so I'm leaving. It's, tell me why. It just does that again and again. It outlines abuse. It's, you push me, it hurts, but I need you like a heartbeat. Tell me why you do this to me. And again and again and again, it's, I need you. Tell me why. And then at the very end, the last 3 lines of the song, she says, I take a step back, let you go. I told you I'm not bulletproof. Now you know. And so at the end of the song, she leaves him.
Mm-hmm.
I take a step back, let you go. I told you I'm not bulletproof. Now you know.
I think that this song would be very different if instead of tell me why, it was I'll let you go at the end of every chorus. And I think that she is like stringing us along on purpose. And I think that narratively that makes sense. We often stay in really unhealthy dynamics and can see the pattern long before we're ready to leave. But some of the juxtaposition of the music and the catharsis, I think, is part of what really is difficult for me. What would you add about what is literally happening in this song?
Yeah, I think that I agree with a lot of your points that this is about a woman who is just fed up with being treated the way she's been treated and wanting to know, like, why do I deserve this? Or why are you directing such cruelty my way? And like, there's nowhere to go from here, but I need to know why you're treating me like this.
Yeah, the other thing I'll say is I really appreciate that you said the tell me why is several questions, right? It's tell me why you're doing what you're doing to me. Tell me why I remember what you said last night and I'm still here. Why you have this big temper and why I put up with your big temper. The why is like, why does this whole dynamic happen? I think that the tell me why, tell me why a lot of things.
Definitely. So, I mean, clearly you have strong feelings about it, but what do you think Taylor is saying about this question? Why do we care about why?
I think Taylor is saying we ask why because the evidence is so confusing. It's so blatant, but it's so confusing. He is mean, right? She is scared. He has a temper. He says he loves her. She needs him. And so with such contradictory pieces of evidence, the only question that you can ask is why, because there's no narrative logic to it.
Yeah, I totally agree, but I think it also is coming from like such a place of anger. It's so upset about like, how could you do this to me? Why do I deserve to be treated this way? Or why do you think I deserve to be treated this way? Or like, what is going on with you that is making you do this to me? It's kind of demanding answers. And I think it's like the beginning of the stages of grief of this relationship, of like anger and frustration about like how things have played out and how she's been treated and why she puts up with so much. I think she's asking herself why in the same way that she's asking him why. She's demanding of him, tell me why. But I also feel like she's looking in the mirror and saying to herself, like, tell me why I'm in this.
Yeah, I think you're right that it's anger. And I also just think it's hurt, right? When someone hurts us and we can't understand the reason, it's confusing, right? And I think you're absolutely right that it's about grief, that one of the first stages of grief, right? One of the early stages is negotiating. And so I think that asking why is a kind of negotiation. If you're grieving something, why would this happen to me? That is a form of negotiation.
Right. And like, why, as in, did I do something wrong that I could fix, that you could fix? Is this fixable? That's also where the why is coming from, of like, I don't want to let this go yet, even though I'm starting to accept subconsciously maybe that it needs to, and it is over.
Is there a lyric that you want to look at?
I think the lyrics that really open the song up for me are, why did you have to make me feel small so you can feel whole inside? Why do you have to put down my dreams so you're the only thing on my mind?
Why do you have to make me feel small so you can feel whole inside? Why do you have to put down my dreams so you're the only thing on my mind?
I think this points to the song being about a man who's so insecure with himself and jealous maybe of this woman's success and feels the need to cut her down so that he can feel better about himself. He's doing this because he sees some inadequacy in himself that he's taking out on her rather than knowing that he feels that way. So he could be acting this way on a subconscious level. She says that he knows what he's doing, but I do kind of wonder, does he in a way? Or is he just like acting on instinct of, I gotta be mean because I feel bad?
Yeah. I mean, these lyrics are fascinating because she answers the questions, right? It's why do you have to make me feel small? And she knows why. It's so you can feel whole inside. But then the question mark is actually at the end of that whole thing, right? She's like, I know that you make me feel small so that you can feel whole inside. But why is that the way that you can feel whole inside? So she is fully seeing him. She is seeing that him hurting her is because he is hurting. And yet still, like, why is that the way that you are choosing to end your hurt? And so I think it speaks to, right, like this is a why me, why do I, why do you, and then like existentially why, right? Why do we as a world operate like this?
Yeah.
So the lyric that I really want to look at closely is you took a swing, I took it hard, and down here from the ground, I see who you are.
You took a swing, I took it hard, and down here from the ground I see who you are.
I love the idea that like down here from the ground, I can really see clearly who you are, that in being abusive, you've actually revealed something really vulnerable about yourself, and I can see that from this position that is usually considered to be a less empowered position of down here on the ground, that there's actually a tremendous amount of power in what you can see. And then also, this is just where I will point out that this is a song about actual abuse, or her using abuse as metaphor. But you took a swing, I took it hard, and down here from the ground, I see who you are. That is, like, this is a very serious subject matter.
I agree. It is a very tough lyric and definitely can be read as a physical abuse story.
Best case scenario, it is using physical abuse as metaphor. There is no like
Right.
or as showing us that this is simile. It is very direct speech.
I think a lot of that comes from Taylor as a young artist, maybe not necessarily understanding all that she's implying by using that type of metaphor, and that it can feel like a gut punch, or it can feel like something physically painful, even if it is not a physical attack or a physical wound. And so I think that that is then an easy next step to kind of spinning that out into a metaphor of physical pain and possibly physical violence, not necessarily with the intent of making it a song about abuse.
Yes. The genius of Swift is that she takes smallish feelings that we have and makes them big. And so they feel cathartic, right? I love you. You ruined my life after only a fortnight. And so when the part of us that is like deeply betrayed by someone who we've only known for 2 weeks, and we're like kind of embarrassed that we don't want to go to work today because some like short love affair ended, feels seen by the bigness of that. And I think that this is potentially a place where we are seeing the limits of that, where Swift in this song seems to be saying from her the real life experience that she had is a guy who she didn't even date being inconsistent and mean to her, which is bad. And her saying, wow, that feels like physical abuse, and standing up to someone and saying, I don't want to be in this situationship with you anymore because you're not reliable with me. I understand why she thinks that that is catharsis, but the specifics of this abuse are too high stakes, where she says, I've got no one to believe in. I need you like a heartbeat.
I'm sick and tired of your reasons. I got no one to believe in. You asked me for my love and you pushed me around.
This is playing with domestic abuse where you have nowhere else to go and you literally need the other person to survive. So this metaphor has gotten too far away from what's actually happening to be cathartic. And it's just minimizing about something that is real.
Yeah, I really love what you just said. That makes a lot of sense about Taylor trying to expand this small feeling into something that feels comparable that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It makes the song really tough to stomach, even though the music is good. Like I enjoyed listening to it and found like righteous indignation in it myself. And so to think more deeply about it and hear how it affected you makes me really second guess my experience of the song.
I mean, let's talk about the catharsis that she's trying to build into the song, right? Because the catharsis is, I've realized that you're mean to me, and even though I'm addicted to you, I'm actually going to finally go. Right? Is that, because I don't think that I understand the song the way that she wants me to. So can you tell me what the catharsis of the song is supposed to be?
I think the catharsis of this song is getting to the end of stopping asking the question. I think the catharsis is purging the need to ask. That's what's going on here. And so like that anger and venting gets us to, I take a step back. I let go. I told you I'm not bulletproof. Now you know. Like, I'm done washing my hands of it. I'm sick of asking why, because I've cared about why too much. To come back to our question of why do we care about why, I think that we care about why because we want answers that we're not going to get or that aren't going to satisfy us. And so the end point of this has to be releasing those questions, not getting answers to them and just releasing them as things that can't be answered.
Yeah. Yeah. Or saying it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
Yeah. That's my answer to the question too. We ask why because we don't want to believe that anybody would be mean to us for no reason or that we would be invisible to someone else. We want the world to make sense. And I think it comes from a really beautiful place that we ask why when people are cruel. I think that we ask why when people are cruel because it feels inconceivable to treat, right? Because there is goodness and there is love and we want the world to make sense. It's not just a sweet question. I think it is a like deeply beautiful question.
I love that version of understanding because for me, the why do we care about why, I think also comes from an insecure place, a place of, well, what did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve this?
Yep.
Why am I getting treated this way? Is there something I could do to stop this from happening? Because there are so many things about you that make me feel good, but then you make me feel so bad. And I don't know what I've done that makes you want to do that to me.
Yeah.
And of course, the answer is so often that it's about the other person and it isn't about you and what you've done wrong or anything like that. And that's kind of where you have to come through in asking that question. So I love your idea of this being a beautiful question because you think so much of the other person that you're like, well, I wouldn't want to imagine that you are this way. And yet I also think it's like internally, oh, what have I done to make them act this way?
Yeah. Yeah. It is potentially an assuming good intentions question, but it is also a potentially self-loathing question.
Well, and I think my response to this question is kind of the flip side of yours in that, like, because it is inconceivable for you to treat me this way because of whatever reason, it must be something I've done. And so it like flips it into an internal moment.
Yeah, and either way, it comes from a part of us that wants the world to make sense. Right? Which I think is what makes it a really beautiful question. So, Daniel, what is this song an anthem for?
I think this is an anthem for when you're furious, when you're angry, fed up, you've realized you've been treated such a way, but don't know how to get out of that anger. And so you're just like, I gotta scream. I need to listen to this song. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's an anthem for desperation. For when you're like sobbing. And yeah, sort of are trying to harness rage rather than falling apart.
I actually had an experience recently this past weekend that really brought up some negative feelings for me. I talked to our mutual friend Marissa about it. And the thing that she said to me was, Daniel, I really understand why you're so sad right now. And I just wish you were angrier. Which is kind of how I feel about this song is like, yeah, sometimes you need to be angrier.
Yeah. This is the song you put on when you're sad and want anger instead.
Yeah. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about that situation this past weekend, man, I should have put this song on. I would have felt so much better.
See, Swift, even when you're complicated, you're giving us gifts. Next week, we're talking about the song You're Not Sorry.
Make sure to give it a listen.
This was a Not Sorry production. We are a feminist production company. We are sponsored by the Fetzer Institute. I'm the executive producer, and we are edited and produced by AJ Yaramas. We are distributed by Acast. A huge thanks to our crazy cat ladies, Kristen Hall, Dallas Caples, Casey Perkins, Jenny Cruz, and Ginny Davis. We love our team, Julia Argy, Nikki Zoltan, Courtney Brown, Casper Turkile, Anissa Ahmed, Danny Langley, and Stephanie Paulsell.